Episode 27, Surfing is a Way of Life, Part 2. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Jones is back. I'm back. Yeah, where have you been? Where have you been, Jeremy Jones? 12 months since the last episode, and we're all out here losing hope that there's going to be more episodes. Where have I been? I've been surfing. Where else? Not only that, I've been surfing in Alaska. Yes, they have surfing in Alaska. They wear booties, hoodies, huge Michelin Man wetsuits. Like your eyelids freeze to your brows. It's so cold. Your teeth crack when you smile. It's tough. It's tough. The icicles coming down your face and your hair. I never thought I would surf in Alaska. It's been quite the adventure. You're picking up that I'm speaking metaphorically, right? I didn't actually parachute into Alaska, yeah? Easily, this past year is the hardest and most challenging year that I've surfed. And the good news is that I'm back. And not only am I back, but I'm stronger than ever, better surfer than ever. I'll need a good 100 episodes to lay out all the lessons I've learned. Because, surfing is a way of life. Before unpacking this episode, a special shout out to my very good friend who woke me up the other day. As I lie shivering with my fingers cupped, frozen around the Alaskan surfboard. Jones, I know you have a lot going on, but you don't realize how much your podcast means to me, to many of us. Well, then he proved it by spouting off a bunch of his personal favorite highlights from past episodes. It woke me up to the realization that I was suffering from my own once upon a time story. Remember that? Yeah, that was one of my Alaskan double overhead waves. Once I get back to a certain amount of money, then I'll be able to focus on this podcast. This is the thing that really lights me up, that gets me paddling and popping up on the board. Yeah, once I get enough money back, then I'll do what actually makes me happy and fulfilled. I have such a disgusting, incestuous relationship with money. I thought I was above it all. Has that ever happened to you? Well, I broke from that. Yeah, my board hit a reef and snapped like a twig, and I cartwheeled up on the beach. I guess that's how I broke from it. Well, put on your wetsuit. Here we go. Jump with me in the water. In order to, of course, surf, you must have a wave. You've seen waves. Small ones, big ones, pipelines, barrels, closeouts, curls, fades, rollers, overheads. Hey, close your eyes and see the ocean. See your favorite beach. See the waves coming in. Hear the crash on the shore, the sand, the spray. You see it? Okay. Well, what is a wave anyway? Waves are caused by energy passing through water, causing the water to move in a circular motion. Let me say that one more time because you might have missed it. You might be under an illusion, a limiting belief of what you think a wave is. Though waves do cause the surface water to move, the idea that waves are traveling bodies of water is misleading. It's an illusion. The water doesn't travel. The energy does. That's heavy. All right, listen to this definition I like from Ducksters. When a wave encounters a surface object, the object appears to lurch forward and upward with the wave, but then falls back down and back into an orbital rotation as the wave continues by, ending up in the same position as before the wave came. If one imagines wave water itself following the same pattern, it's easier to understand ocean waves as simply the outward manifestation of kinetic energy propagating through seawater. In reality, the water in waves doesn't travel much at all. the only thing that does transmit across the sea is energy. The idea of waves being energy movement rather than water movement makes sense, right, in the open ocean. But what about on the coast, where waves are clearly seen crashing dramatically onto shore? Right? This phenomenon is a result of the wave's orbital motion being disturbed by the seafloor. As a wave passes through water, not only does the surface water follow an orbital motion, but a column of water below it completes the same movement. Right? So the approach of the bottom in shallow areas causes the lower portion of the wave to slow down. It compresses super tight, and it forces the wave's crest higher up in the air, resulting in a crash. Eventually, this imbalance, that's when it reaches that breaking point, and it crashes down, and the wave's energy is dissipated into the surf on the beach, right? Okay, you with me? Still with me? I'm with you. Okay. In physics, this is the take it home part. In physics, a wave is a disturbance that travels through space and matter transferring energy from one place to another. When studying waves, it's important to remember that they transfer energy, not matter. Right? So that means a wave is a disturbance. A disturbance. You lose $50,000 on a dishonest contractor. You lose your brother, or you lose someone, a loved one. You lose your reputation. Right? You lose that deal. You lose all that potential money. You lose a friend. You lose your whole patio furniture set to some backyard thief. I don't know your disturbance, but I know that you have them, no matter how good a surfer you are. And I know this because you're in the ocean. I see you. Anybody in the ocean gets disturbances. It's just part of being in the ocean. I graduated in communications with a degree in conflict resolution. I was a certified mediator for a while, loved it. And the more I sniffed around that path, though, the less money I could smell. And I wasn't looking for fulfillment or passion or purpose, right? I was looking for fortune, for money, 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 money. Same mistake I made this past year, actually. Noted. Thank you. Not too long after I graduated, I was scrolling through the job listings at the university, right? There it was. Glory, riches, and lined with diamond-studded prestige. The job was for a mergers and acquisitions advisor, M&A. Essentially a broker buying and selling businesses. It sounded pretty flashy. It sounded like the kind of image people would be impressed with. It sounded like a good wave to surf. I read on. Let's see. Well, wow, I had none of the qualifications they asked for. A business degree? Nope. Preferably a master's in finance, an MBA? Nope. So naturally, I applied anyway. Half a week goes by, no call. Well, maybe this is a bad wave. I'll go ahead and call them. Hello there, just calling to make sure you got my application. That's right. Mine's the one without any of the required qualifications. Another week goes by. Hi, just calling to see if I can get an interview for that M&A position. Another week went by. No interview. It's feeling like this might be a bad wave, like a roller, where nothing really happens, kind of rolls on past you. Okay. But then the tide shifted. They called the next week. I was so excited to come in for the interview. I even ironed my shirt. The interview was short, but went well. I started believing I had a chance. The next week, I came back for a second interview. See, I just had to be patient, chase it around a bit. It's all gonna work out. This must be a good wave, after all. I smiled at the receptionist on the way in. Yes, I'm here for the 2 p.m. interview. Great, this was great. I walked toward the conference room, gazing around the office, oozing with young buck confidence, trying to see which office would inevitably be mine. Which office mates would, become buddies, and how I would like the view from this or that window. Yeah. I sat down ready to accept their offer. This is going to be a great wave. Hey, listen, they said, we really like some of your strengths and experience, but we have a few concerns about your financial background. We see you don't have a business degree, and because we help buy and sell businesses, it's really an important part of the job. But you do have some unique things on your resume, so how about we roll through some questions here with you? Sure, fire away. First question I remember was, and I remember all three guys looking at me across the table. Do all businesses have financial statements? I don't know. It sort of seemed like maybe it was a trick question, especially with that sneaky catchword, all businesses. I mean, what are financials anyway? Stuff with numbers on them? I sighed. Well, yes, but no. See, yes, some of them, but not all of them. You know, financial statements, those are important. Yeah. Final answer. I suppose one of them just couldn't hold it in, right? They burst out laughing at my ignorance, laughing at me. Oh, I see. The boss chuckled. So, is it a yes or no? 50-50. Let's go with... depends. Okay. Next question. What does revenue mean? Next question. What is gross profit? Okay, now, so there's gross and profit. Gross profit. Profit, that's easy. That's like how much money you make. And I'm thinking gross could be like sick, like a reverse psychology term. Like, oh, that profit is sick, dude. It's like gross. So I said, well, you see, gross profit is like the most money a business can make. It's like as in exceptionally sweet profit. The gray-haired boss leaned in closer. Tell me something. Are you a BSer? Is that what you do? Huh? Is it? The other two guys thought it was hilarious. They're smirking and laughing. They're laughing, throwing elbows at each other. Are you BSing me right now? Whoo. My iron shirt was turning sweaty. Now, no. This was for sure a bad wave. What was I thinking? This was an overhead breaker wave, out of my pay grade. Why? Why did I try to paddle into this wave? They kept throwing these questions at me like darts poking at me. I kept getting prodded and elbowed, and it wasn't an interview. It was like a roasting. And sometimes they would ask a question, and then when I fumbled, they would look at each other, grinning in amusement. At the end of the battering, they asked if I had any question or comment. Yeah. I said, I sure do. And I was practicing this at my mirror the whole morning. I knew this is what I came here to say. I definitely had something to share. I know some of those questions I didn't know the answer to, but I know this. I can do this job, right? I know me. I know what I'm capable of. I know I can take an accounting class and learn some of these terms. Gross profit. And the most important part of this job is not the terms or the financial business degree. It's about knowing people, how to interact with people, and believe me, I can do that. Now, give me a chance. If there's something I know, it's me. I know me, and I know I won't let you down. They looked at each other again, and this time, they didn't laugh. I left with a promise that they would think it over, look at some other candidates, and get back with me. Another week went by, and I applied for some other jobs, but I still really wanted this one, in spite of all the interview shenanigans. Then I got the call, the invitation for the third Holy Grail interview. That sounds like a good wave, third interview. Good, okay, good thing, good. Yeah, good. They told me it would be short. Obviously, that's probably how long it would take for them to offer the job, discuss pay, sign some paperwork. Third interview, baby, that's when you cash in. So I ironed my shirt again. I laced up my tie to go in for the win. I sat down, and they said they appreciated the last interview. They said they were all but decided to go a different direction after I incorrectly answered some of the financial questions. By the way, yes, all businesses have financial statements. But there was something at the end of my interview, my
I won't let you down
statement. It stuck with them. Yes. Now I was the one smiling. I was about to say, excellent, well, I'll start today. But they slid some paperwork across my desk. Well, first, we need you to fill out this profile and drop it back by tomorrow. What? A personality test profile? Yeah, it's something we give to all candidates. It gives us an idea of personality and strengths and how you process things. Well, I guess one more lap until victory couldn't hurt. I could check this box off for him. I dropped it by and waited for the congratulations call. A week went by, still no call. And so at this point, it's the second week with no call, and then that's when I got a letter in the mail. It's one I still have to this day. It's filed away 17 years later. It said, well, listen, you know what those letters say. Yes, thanks for coming in and sharing your talents with us, blah, 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 blah. Thanks for applying for the M&A advisor job, blah, 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 blah. Thanks for taking time with 3 interviews, blah, blah. But after we received the results of the profile test, we decided to keep looking for another candidate. Man, I felt so jerked around. I laughed at, disappointed. I cried a bit. That stays between you and me. I knew what this was. Certainty. This time, my monkey, judgy mind had it right. This was actually a very bad wave. Bad wave. Gotta watch out for those. But what does the wise Taoist farmer say? Remember from earlier episodes. Maybe. Then again, maybe not. Well, by now I was seasick from the waves, invisible world energy waves of sadness and anger and frustration, heaving. I was hurt, moved on. 4 months went by. I was still looking for a career-type job, fully graduated. This time, I saw a job listed by the same company. It wasn't the M&A high roller position, it was for the receptionist position. Perfect. Okay, well, this time I decided to use my true skills, put my communication degree to work. I got out some paper and decided to write them a letter, which is also one I still have today. I told them I wanted this receptionist job so bad. I mean, I didn't really want the job, but I'll start where I have to start. If this is what it takes, then I'll start here. I'll work my way up because I know that I can do that other M&A position. And look, I'll clean bathrooms if I have to. I'll park cars if I have to. You just give me a shot. Give me a shot. A few weeks went by, and I remember I was driving to the airport when the gray-haired man called. Hey, I got your letter here. That's some letter, by the way. If you have this kind of determination, this kind of communication skills, I know you can make it here, too. Wish more of my employees had that, actually. So, I want to hire you, but not for the receptionist job. I'll keep looking for someone for that. I want to hire you for that M&A advisory job. I've interviewed a bunch of people since then, but no one quite like you. I believe you can do it. I started that Monday and worked for 5 years for that company until I stepped up to an even better position in the industry. So question. Let's turn it to you. Two-way podcast. Was it really a bad wave or a good wave? What do you think? Well, let's breadcrumb that here, kind of put it in the back pocket. We will circle back at the end. Meantime, let's hop back in the ocean, back to surfing. Get your wetsuit on, jump back in the water with me. So, I'm sitting on the surfboard with my buddy. Real life. He's an official dawn patroller. I lean over, bobbing up and down on my surfboard. All right. So, how do I know if it's a good wave to catch? Like, how do I know if I'm supposed to put all my energy paddling for this wave or that wave, or if I should let it pass, if there's a better wave coming? He gave me tips. We tried our best, but sometimes the wave was a dud. It was a roller. I mean, how do you know if the person you're dating is the right wave? The school degree, the sports team, the job, the house purchase, switching careers, starting the business, selling that business, doing a massive home renovation, or maybe just picking what movie to watch. I thought that selling my house and moving across the country was a good idea. That was a good wave. But then I had some major, big P problems. Not the small P's, it's big P's. This is all wrong. This is supposed to be a good wave. Wait a second. What's going on here? You thought that starting your business was a good wave. But now you have a hard time making ends meet, stacks of bills, harder time finding clients. Or maybe that client that you wanted so badly you chased for a long time, a couple years later, maybe he gives a lawsuit to your business or something. You thought it was a good wave. Or you thought it was a good wave when you did sell your business for millions. But honestly, now you're a little depressed and bored, and you're struggling to find the same purpose and drive you had growing your business. And look, you feel guilty for even bringing this up. You thought it was a good wave to get married. It's all you prayed for. The one. But now the wave is closing out quickly. A real short ride. And you're far more stressed now going to therapy and couples therapy and talking about getting divorced. And, oh, man, what was I thinking? It wasn't a good wave. You thought it was a good wave that you could stay home full time and raise the kids. But secretly now, you wish every day that you could be at a job where you got a paycheck and some more recognition. You thought it was a good wave taking charge of your health just to go to the doctor for a routine checkup, but your world crashed when he found some new lump of cancer. You thought it was a good wave when you closed that deal. Oh, yes, finally, I closed the deal. I sold that property. I signed up that new monster contract. But now you've become so preoccupied with money that your family and friend relationships have deteriorated grossly and rotted out. And you just find yourself an empty shell, sad and bored, quietly depressed. You're even upset the new electric car in the 5-car garage doesn't do it for you anymore. You thought it was a good wave being the #1 ranked gymnast in the world. You achieved it. You made it. But now you feel so much pressure and mental duress that with good reason, you withdraw from the Olympics. Withdrawing from that moment that you thought you wanted so badly. Isn't it ironic, don't you think? A little too ironic. I really do think. You thought it was a good wave. All you wanted was those friends of yours to buy the house in your cul-de-sac so your kids could finally have someone to play with. But then after a year, the relationship with those neighbors became so toxic that one of you moved away entirely. And what about the bad waves? You thought it was a bad wave that your remodel project was taking 3 times as long. You can't move in. It's sucking all your cash. You have to take your family and rent a basement apartment with no dishwasher and limited space. But then you changed your whole life by being tumbled and washed and wiping out and realized this house remodel, the stress of the money. A fancy house won't make you happy. You don't need that to have some satisfying self-image. And you've become grateful that you've finally been able to reprioritize. You have your must-haves in your life, and you have your nice-to-haves. Like my must-haves, like dream maker relationships and memories and moments and laughter and relationships that are far more important than whatever the size and style of any 4 walls around you. That you measure your new self-image not by square feet, okay, but by the amount of love you share. Because of that bad wave, you are finally able to see a dwelling is in the visible, tangible world, but a home is created in your invisible world, no matter your dwelling, and you can go there anytime. Or maybe you thought it was a bad wave when you lost money on that new investment, on that remodel, that flip, that stock, putting all that money into context logic stock. Or that mine in Chile that your friend told you was ground floor opportunity. Buy it on the pink list. Penny stocks. It's only 2 cents a share. So listen, so you realize that what happens if it only goes up 2 cents to 4 cents a share? Do you realize what's going to happen to your money, right? So 2 cents, sure, you lost that investment, but in the natural law of equanimity, when you lose something, you gain something. So what do you gain? See all perspectives. See the loss, but see the gain. Honor both. Maybe the investment went bad, but now your dedication to proper research and better judgment and more self-confidence has led to more wealth and financial stability than you would have had if the investment in the chili mine went up to, dang, 12 cents a share. Or you thought it was a bad wave when you were squeezed out of ownership on that business. Do you remember that? They squeezed you out. You're supposed to have 5% of it, and you're hustling, and, oh, sorry, you're squeezed out. That's just not right. But because of that bad wave, you're now growing your own business that you own 100% and enjoy greater flexibility and time with your family and hobbies and life, good balance. You thought it was a bad wave when the Army released you dishonorably after 20 years. Now no pension. But it forced you into real estate and gave you the path to building the real estate empire you now enjoy. You thought it was a bad wave when that deal died and you were no longer going to make truckloads on it. But now you know, more than anything, you are determined to be a bold podcaster with messages and content that help and improve your life and many other lives around. You thought it was a bad wave when you hired that worker for your house project, that employee for your business, and then they stole from you. But then you realized the enormous inner strength you have in your invisible world. Pockets of superpower diamonds that are within you, all around your invisible house. Acres of diamonds. Remember that from earlier episodes, right? It's all in your backyard right now. The strength that comes alive will help you through, giving you the extra muscle that you can now depend on when you paddle yourself through the choppy water storms that are ahead in your life, giving you the extra muscle to go even further in your journeys and adventures. I'm not done yet, because you thought it was a bad wave when that special person broke up with you and left you. But then you made space to get to know yourself better, to stand on your own feet, and to make space eventually for someone who really just blows the other person away. Or you thought it was a bad wave, disaster, to move across the state, spending a ridiculous amount of money, moving, renovating, losing some money along the way to crooked people, being a renter, living out of boxes, waiting for that one day you could actually move in. But only then, only with that bad wave did you finally have a life awakening big enough to realize moment that your house and happiness is whatever four walls you are at that moment. An opportunity to create love, laughter, and memories no matter where you are, because a home is in your soul and a house is drywall and lumber. So never forget that, Jones. I got it. You thought it was a bad wave to go surfing down to the ocean. I mean, really, you were scared all the time. And then you came home bruised and tired. And then you get up again at 5:45 in the morning and get pummeled in the cold currents of the West LA ocean. But only then did you realize the lessons and concepts that taught you for the rest of your life. That's surfing. Right? There's lessons in there. It's a way of life. Oh, man. Right? You can see it, right? We can see it. We spend so much time, so much energy, so much invisible traveling. Is this good? Is this bad? Bring the cue cards up, label, assign the experience, judge it. I see this good wave, bad wave, bad wave, bad wave, good wave. We pretend like we know so much. We really don't. And when I'm wrong, when my good wave turns out to be a dud, I suffer, right? When my reality is different than my perception, when I'm locked in to expectation instead of appreciation, I suffer. Just stay in appreciation. Tidal waves of anxiety, swigging CBD oil by the bottle. I can't sleep. This is all wrong. That was supposed to be a great wave. I had it all mapped out perfectly. It was supposed to go like this and then left and then follow the map and around the corner, and there's the treasure. What if we spent less time thinking about whether or not it was a good wave or a bad wave? We just threw that out the window. And more time about what's actually in our control and not in our control. Let's do this experiment. Let's look at Exhibit A. Now, my truck recently got broken into. Yes, it was locked, but they smashed not one, but 2 windows. So I call my buddy, one of my lifeboats, if you remember. Same one I mentioned back in the lifeboat mini-series. So listen, he says this time. All right. Hey, listen, my truck got broken into. I just have some plastic taped up, and what if they come back tonight, and this time they steal my truck? Man, I'm so worried. I can tell this is going to be a bad wave, bro. I feel a wipeout coming. Bad wave. It's a big anxiety wave. I can't sleep because I'm thinking more accurately. I'm visualizing and playing like a movie, and my body experiences it. The body experiences what you visualize mentally, right? Someone is coming for my truck. They have ski masks and crowbars, and they smell funny, and I can't believe this happened to me. And what if they come back? He interrupts me. Oh, man. I mean, I can't blame them, Jones. Your truck is pretty dope. The lift, the rims, the tint, it's a nice ride. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry to hear they smashed the windows and you got robbed. That's terrible. Yeah, he finally gets it. Just got to move on. Me. I'm trying to, but what if they come back for it? I know a bad wave, and this is a bad wave. Jones. Since your truck is so good looking, so valuable, tell you what, do this. Tonight, leave your wife in bed, your kids in the house, and you'll get yourself a little blankie and you sleep in your truck. If it's so important to you. Boom, he got me again, right between the eyes. Ha. You know, if it's so important, more important than being with your family, you go out there and you sleep in it, bro. Do it. Protect that truck, baby. I'm silent. I'm scratching the whiskers on my chin, exhaling the anxiety. But Jones, really what you should do, he continues. Better yet, bro, you should take your truck, go park it in the middle of the cul-de-sac, take the plastic off the window, and then roll down the other windows. Leave the keys in the ignition. You go inside. Forget the truck. Love your kids. Love on your wife. Remember what's really important. You have insurance, right? Right. That's why you have insurance. Besides, Jones, how safe was your truck when you actually had the glass and you had it locked? If you had glass instead of a flappy plastic wrap thing, then what? Then they just break your glass again. If they want your truck, they'll get your truck. See, you've done everything in your control to make it safe, and now it's time to be in balance, to make room for the part that's not in your control. I thought I was wealthy because I had this fancy possession, this fancy truck. Is that wealth? Or might true wealth be not your possession, but the wealth of what doesn't possess you? Wealthy because it had a nice truck? Wrong-o! Wealth is not being controlled by what you possess. All right, let's look at what Epictetus said. He says it better. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having fewer wants. What's something holding you back? What's keeping you up at night? Who's the anxiety guest that keeps knocking on your door? Oh, there he is. He's trying to get your attention. Let me in! Let me in! I'm laying on the bed. Here comes the wave. Circular motion carrying energy from one point to another fixed point. The anxiety is largely my reaction. Anxiety is okay. I'm not anti-anxiety. He has his place. The question is not, how do I get rid of my anxiety? Better questions. How do I be with my anxiety? Can he be a guest in the house? Do we have room in our big invisible house for anxiety to come in? pull up a chair by the fire. Tell us what's going on. Work with him. Help him. Maybe the only enemy is that... Oh, okay. Quote, maybe the only enemy is that we don't like the way reality is now and therefore wish it would go away fast. But we find as practitioners that nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. I can't remember who said that. It's in the show notes. I loved it. The problem comes when it's not balanced, right? When it's out of yin-yang, when it's just yin, you know? Yin is night, darkness, uncertainty, darkness, chaos. Here comes the wave. The energy is passing through the oceanic space of my chest. Oh no, I started having a panic attack, physically experiencing the symptoms of panic as if someone was truly stealing my truck. Because that's the program, that's the movie that I pressed play on. That's the software that I coded and loaded up. Can I also make room for yang? Yin-yang. Yang is order, certainty, light, day. For every night there is a day. Hey, that's how it's worked for the last thousands of years. It's nighttime, but the day is coming. It's daytime, but the night is coming. Daytime. Hey, at least they didn't break it and damage the truck frame. It was just the glass. At least they didn't steal the whole truck. At least they didn't hurt anybody. And it's just some smashed glass everywhere. And by the way, I have insurance for this. Grateful for that. I'm grateful my family's okay. Yes, I'm scared, sad, mad. But can I make balance room for gratitude, hope, and thanksgiving? All right. There you have it. I've done my work. I've shown my steps. I've carried the one over to the next column. Now, can you do your work now? Do you have a truck sitting in your driveway with a plastic window flapping in the wind? Is it keeping you up? How's your anxiety? Think about that and let's jump back into the water again. Wetsuit zipped up. Zip. We take all of our master observance and we judge the waves coming in the best we can. Like, oh, this one looks totally righteous. Looks like the perfect wave for me. Not too big, not too small. I remember I would make a U-turn on my board, paddling around. I'd look over my shoulder. I'd see the wave coming. So excited. Finally, a good one. I'd shovel the water aside, paddling like I was about to cash a lottery ticket. But then, for some reason, that wave wouldn't crest. It was just one of those deceiving rollers. Or I was just in the wrong spot of the lineup and I missed it. Or sometimes I was in the perfect spot and all my buddies were cheering for me and they'd say, do it, go for it, Jones, you got this. And I paddled and then I caught the wave. I did it. And I was actually surfing, not wiping out or anything. And then I'd be on the wave and it was a good ride, but maybe not as awesome as I thought it would go. It was just sort of like an okay ride. And I thought it was going to break right, but it broke left. Or, from amateurs to pros, watch a surf tournament online. Not the highlight clips, but the actual live tournament. You'll see the same pattern. You see them do all they can to observe. They paddle for a wave, thinking it's a great wave, thinking they are in the right spot, but then they change their minds or they miss it. Or sometimes there'd be a party wave. Do you know about party waves? A party wave is when you and your buddies all jump on the same wave and you chat about how awesome the wave is when you coast up the shore. I love those moments, but those pass too. Even the party waves are temporary. They foam out on the beach and that moment is gone. So, since I really don't know, in spite of my wisdom, my judgment, my experience, my smarts, we just don't know. Right? We just got to stop pretending like we know so much and just experience the experience. If we flip the pages back to our Titanic lifeboat episodes, Captain Smith of the Titanic had 4 decades of stellar, clean, accident-free experience. And he said 5 years before the Titanic, "When anyone asks me how I can best describe my experience in nearly 40 years at sea, I merely say uneventful. Of course, there have been winter gales and storms and fog and the like, but in all my experience, I've never been in any accident or any sort of worth speaking about. I have seen but one vessel in distress in all my years at sea. I never saw a wreck and never have been wrecked, and nor I was in any predicament that threatened to end in disaster of any sort." The Titanic, the boat, was supposed to be a good wave, unsinkable engineering masterpiece. Then there's the iceberg. Captain Smith was supposed to be the good wave, Mr. 4 decades of accident-free maritime experience. Sometimes we hit icebergs. We've all gone for a wave that didn't quite work out like we thought, huh? Funny when that happens. Bring back the science. Remember the physics. A wave is a disturbance carrying energy, not matter, across two finite points. So, as hard as it is, remember lesson number 2. It's just a wave. Come on, right? We got to quit playing demigod. Sure, there's a couple things we know for sure, but not many. One thing I know for sure, though, is that most waves, I know I don't know how it's going to go. That's the truth. I know I don't know. We don't really know if it's good or bad. I've spent too much time on the surfboard trying to decide if it would turn out good or if it would turn out bad, if it would follow my plans, if it was the right wave. My mind was monkeying around, splashing foolishly around. I just forgot to surf. Just ride the waves that come in. Merely existing instead of surfing, instead of living. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Is it more important to know? Is it more important to know, to have certainty beforehand if it's a good wave or a bad wave? Or might it be better to just be comfortable with uncertainty? A wave is just a disturbance. Peaks, troughs, just transferring energy across your ocean. We need some certainty, and we also need some uncertainty. It makes it all exciting and challenging. Yin and yang. Yin yang, think of that popular Eastern world symbol. You know, the black and white symbol? One of the most important parts of this symbol is so subtle. It's the thin border around it. It's what holds it all together. You have the ups and downs in the ocean, the finite border, the stable shores that hold everything. Can you be the stable shoreline? Can you embrace the big barrel smasher waves that pound the sand, that sound like thunder? Can you also be still and be calm and just hold the flat, glassy energy? Can you be the stable shorelines bordering the energy? Just let it be. As Jim Carrey put it, I can't be contained because I am the container. We are the ocean, not the wave. Not the bad ones, not even the good ones. We're not the waves of disturbance. We are the ocean that contains it all. The wave is whatever you call it. Let's go back to our Stoic philosopher friend Epictetus. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. How do we label things? What stories do we say about them? Are you so busy rereading your worn chapters that it prevents you from writing a new chapter, a new story? Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Imagined anxieties? Invisible anxieties, Epictetus? Oh, I get it. That's why Jeremy Jones, it's the invisible world of Jeremy Jones. Oh, I get it. What's real is what happens in the invisible world. Two men look through the same bars. One sees the mud, the other the stars. Now, I'm not talking about me versus you looking through the bars. I'm talking about the deep, beautiful, conscious self versus the egoic mind. Sometimes I'd be floating around on my board out there in Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach. I'd see a wave coming. I'd be floating out there in the lineup, and I think, oh, that's a bad wave. I'll wait for a better one. Yeah. But my buddy, he saw it different, and he paddled for it, and he had a great ride. How did that happen? It was the same wave. It was the same circumstances. Different emotional experience, different invisible experience that eventually projected into our visible world differently. Inside is the cause. Outside is the effect. Let's wrap this up. No doubt you forgot about the breadcrumb earlier I laid out there for you to noodle on the top of the episode. That was a while ago. Remember my whole M&A job surf session, the job search, the interviews? Was it good or bad? What do you think? Did you decide? Or was it just a wave? A set of waves coming through? Maybe just currents of energy passing from one shore to another. The fact I even get to feel the current means I'm blessed to be alive. Even if the energy, the waves of disturbance startle me, give me anxiety. Jones, surf's up. Catch a wave, any wave, and do with it what you can, your best. Start where you are, use what you have right now. And remember today, just practice surf lesson number 2. It's just a wave, just energy passing through. I may let it go. I may paddle for it. I may pull a 360 aerial. I may wipe out. You may get the job. You may not get the job. You may get married to that person. Maybe not. Maybe you get married, get divorced to him later. Right? What kind of wave is that? Oh, I know. It's just a wave. Maybe you sell your business for millions. Maybe not. Maybe you get an A in the class. Maybe not. Maybe you get the scholarship, you get into that university. Maybe not. Maybe your truck does get stolen. Maybe not. It's just waves, just cycling through your ocean. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. And whatever is passing through your ocean. And something is, because you're alive. You're a Homo sapien. Pick something right now. Say it out loud. Something that's giving you anxiety. Lots of anxiety. Small anxiety. Now see how you can take the opposite view on it. You don't have to buy into either of the views. I'm not talking about blind faith. I'm not talking about pretending like the dark side doesn't exist. I'm just talking about seeing both sides of the wave. Could be a wipeout. That's real. Like, that is real. You could wipe out. That's happened. The bruises and sore muscles I got surfing were real. Lots of anxiety, tossing and turmoil, real. But hey, also on the other side could be an awesome ride you catch, and you get it on video, and you play it to the grandkids. Dad was once super cool. Wow, yeah. Pablo Picasso. Write this one down. Actually, don't write it down. Just memorize it. A short one. Picasso says, everything you can imagine is real. The invisible world of Pablo Picasso. Real. What are you imagining, huh? Don't judge the wave, good or bad. Just find the benefit in each of them. Be careful, because this street light signals in both directions, right? Doesn't it? Yeah, could be negative, could be positive. Two-way street. What's happening in your invisible world? Well, it will soon be visible. If you put a gloomy photo in the copy machine and press copy, don't act surprised when the printer spits out gloom and doom. Our brain machines work the same dang way, and our bodies are like a touch screen that signals the status report. So whatever the wave, when the energy starts pumping its way across peaks and troughs and troughs and peaks and peaks and troughs of emotions cycling through the ocean between your ears, do this. Grab your board, paddle hard, pop up, do your best. Just surf. Time is figuratively and literally running out. So, live. Bet on yourself today. I'm going to bet on me and on you. And yes, it goes back to the same reason every episode. To me, why for doing this podcast is because I believe the world needs who you were meant to be. Catch you on the next wave.